Hey everyone, welcome. It's Carrie from Carrie's Wreath Creations. Hope everyone is doing well today. Today is Sunday, July 24th at approximately 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So if you are watching at another time, then you're watching a replay. If you're on YouTube, you're watching a replay. But thanks for joining me. Today we're going to work on a kind of a swirly fall colored flower. And if you've been following me on my page on Facebook, you will see that I have some kits available. So I posted those earlier today. You do shop for those through Etsy. And we're just going to give everyone a second to join us. My dog is currently throwing himself against the side of the couch, itching himself. That's Jax, if you see him. He's always a little bit crazy. Okay, I got us pulled up here. Hello, hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know if it's your first time watching, if it's you've seen me before. I did get some folks, new people, I think, that found me through TikTok of all places. I had a TikTok video today that got quite a few views, and so I know some people were looking to find me over here on Facebook. Okay, so like I said, we have kits available for this style of flower. I'm going to be doing it a little bit different than what you get in the kit. The kit comes with 4 different colors. Hi, Lori. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. So we're going to put the flower together. I will kind of be referring to, like, if you get the kit, it has 4 colors. We're going to do 3 just because I had this like special plaid poly burlap that I really wanted to use and wanted to pull a couple of the colors out of that. So I am going to be doing this more tutorial style as well, for people that are new, for people that will be watching this video back in order to use it as a tutorial while they're making their kits. How do I do TikTok? So TikTok, I don't know how that's a really good question. I have been fooling around with it for a little while now, and once in a while I get videos that have really great views, and sometimes I don't, but quite honestly, most of my videos are either product videos where I have a wreath and I'm just showing the product video that I use for my Etsy listings, or I am doing a sped up version of me making a wreath, like a time-lapse video. Those are really the only 2 I do. But anyways, we're working on a small Unique in the Creek board. So as far as the kit, what you're going to get, you're going to get the small board, all the zip ties you need. You will get a total of 40 pieces of poly burlap. Okay. So, it'll be 4 different colors. We're using 3 today, but it'll still be the same way you put it together. We're just going to repeat this nice plaid color twice. You will also get your choice of, if you want dark brown or a natural brown burlap for the center. You have 2 different options for what you do with that burlap for the center. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've already preloaded my board. Whoops, this way. I am using, if you're new to Unique in the Creek, these are great boards, especially if you're a beginner. I keep holding this the wrong way, sorry. Because everything's spaced out for you, everything's laid out for you. It's really easy for me to tell you exactly where you want to put everything so that you get the design that I'm doing. So this is a small board. It is labeled rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And I have put a zip tie in every set of holes in row 1, every set of holes in row 2, every set of holes in row 3, and in row 4, I did use every set of holes as well as every set of shared holes. So for example, it's kind of easier to see on the back. Here's row 4. So here's the pair. And then I put another zip tie going between the 2 sets. Okay. And so to load my board, I just put them in there and I just latch it till it clicks once or twice, and then it's all ready to go. Okay. Hello, hello. All right. So I did want to mention, and this is for anyone who is wanting to make a little bit smaller wreath, because this is going to turn out to be about 26 inches. If you want yours to be a little bit smaller, like maybe in the 23 inch range, I've never actually shown this before, but I do sometimes drill extra holes on these boards, and like on this one, I drilled extra holes. Actually, I used my wood burner and melted extra holes, and I would not use row 1, so that's going to make my flower a little bit more compact. And then if you can see up close, I don't know if it's going to come out right or if it's going to be backwards, but I did sort of mark where I would be putting my my petals. We're not going to focus too much on this, but just know if you are wanting to make just a slightly smaller flower, it's definitely possible. Please feel free to message me and I will help get you started. Okay. So let's get started. So I have a bunch of petals already made. I will show you how to fold them a few times. I do believe, and I might be wrong, but I do believe that it makes a difference where you start on the board with this swirl design. Okay, because it's going to kind of be like colors spiraling out in different directions. And so I have decided and determined that if you start, here's the number 1. If you start here, you're going to be off on your swirl. You want to start to the at the set of holes that's just to the left of the number 1. Okay, so right there where I have this little star, I'm going to put a petal here. That's going to be my starting one, and then I'm going to hit the number 1 as my second one. So I'm going to have 2 of the same color on the outside, and then as I work in, you'll see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold our petals. So I do have to fold, and let me show you what we're using. We have our nice plaid, and I have to make a couple of those. I know that for sure. If you're interested in this, I do not have this in any of the kits, but this is not the right tag, but it has beige, brown, cranberry, and moss green. Did I say cream? That too. And then we're going to use cranberry and we're going to use moss green. This kind of is not looking very green on camera, but it's not quite like the olive green, but it still has it's a little bit more of a brownish beige tinge to it than the olive green. Okay. So let's fold our petals. So we're going to do the Dean Michael Daisy petal, which is pretty good for beginners. It's a nice versatile petal. So I have this, when you get your kit, or if you're not using a kit you're watching later on, this is cut at 10 by 10 inch pieces. I'm going to utilize a clip to make my petal, to make it easier to fold. It is going to be, I try to flatten as much as possible, but there's always still a little bit of a curve, okay? A little bit of a curl, so curl side up. I always have my factory edges on the top and bottom, and my cut edges where I cut it on the sides. I'm realizing I'm a little off camera here, okay? So here are my cut edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm always going to turn it the same way every time because I always want my petals to be the same. So I'm just going to turn it so here's my factory edges here and here. Okay, so then I take the bottom, bring it up to meet the top, okay, and here's where I'm going to use my clip, okay, because on these petals I want that point, here's a completed one, to be nice and even, okay, so I use the clip to help hold it in shape. So then I'm going to turn it to its side here, and I just do this, this is my right hand, I'm right-handed, it's easiest for me to make them like this, okay. And then what I do, and there's different ways to do it, but what I typically do is I start at one end, okay, right here. I kind of turn this under, and then I just start scrunching. Okay, I'm kind of gathering the same amount of material every time. Okay, just like this. When I get to the other end, I sort of tuck that little end under as well, just like this, okay. And then I do a little bit of shaping before it goes into the board, or I have these all rubber banded. Okay, but there's my petal. Okay, I make sure I like the way it looks. And then again, we are starting, if you're looking at the board, here's the number 1. We're starting just to the left of it. That's where this petal is going to go. So, and the reason I think it matters is because we're doing two petals in a row, and then we're going to alternate colors. And your swirl, basically you don't want your swirl, like if we started here with this, we would in order to get our swirl, we need to be going kind of diagonal, and there's not really a petal here. So there's a method to the madness, I promise. Okay. Hello everyone. So let's do that again. So here are factory edges, cut edges. It's 10 by 10. Cut with a wood burning tool. So I'm just turning it into a diamond shape, folding into a triangle. And turn it to its side here. Okay, make sure my edges are nice and lined up. Take this little end right here, fold it under, and then just start scrunching. So I just gather a little bit at a time. And when I get to the other end, I kind of turn that under as well. Okay, make sure I like the way it looks. Take the clip off, okay. You can do a little bit of shaping once it's in the board. I just like to do the majority of my shaping before I'm really committed and have it in the board, okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so there's my 2. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna alternate colors. Okay, so we're gonna end up using, if you're getting the kit, it's 10 of each color, so a total of 40 petals. With this, we're gonna double up on this, so it's gonna be 20 of these and then 10 of the other ones. So now we're gonna do 2, let's do the moss green next. Okay, so 2 of those, and we're on row 1. Okay, so this will go pretty quick. I have, I think, just 2 more petals to make, so it'll be quick after this, okay? And then I'm going to go back to my plaid. So if you have your 4 colors, it would be, you know, this is color 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So for me, colors 1 and 3 are the same. I'm using this plaid, but for the kit, you would be using, you know, all 4 colors, okay? And then I'm gonna go to my cranberry. And I am gonna take a brief little pause before we fold more petals. Not really a pause, but I do want to show you a couple little tricks to make your petals, just some little tips and tricks. Because I find that, you know, a lot of people, they just really struggle with folding the petals, or they just don't come out even. And then of course, when I'm offering a kit, I am human. I cut everything by hand. It takes a very long time. And, you know, sometimes it's not quite exactly, you know, 10 by 10. I do my very best, but if I'm a little bit off, there's a way that you can there's a different way to fold the Dean Michael petal, that you can kind of get away with hiding. Like if you're a little bit off in the size, if there is, a little bit of a flaw in the mesh, how you can hide that. So I'm going to show you that because I think it would be really helpful for some people that just kind of struggle in general with, you know, their petals not being uniform and as perfect as they would like. Okay. Now these are all held together with rubber bands. So, I'm not taking the bands off. They're clear. They'll just eventually, disintegrate. Okay. You can pre-make all your petals like that if that's something that you would want to do. All right, so comments. We're going to be a little stalled in our comments, so let me know if this is your first time watching, or if you see me before. Let me know where you're watching from. How is the weather today? I am ready for any kind of a cold front to come through. Here in North Carolina, it is way too hot. Can't even be outside for longer than a couple minutes, so I'm not enjoying that too much. But let me know what you're working on. Are you on to fall already? Are you still trying to crank out a few more summer things? I know I had a really hard time letting go of doing summer wreaths, quite honestly. All right, cool. Well, welcome, Debbie. Welcome. Hi, Dee. I think I saw you comment earlier. Thanks for watching. All right, this last petal here that I just added, I'm just going to tuck it behind this one because that's kind of the pattern I'm doing. And that's what I want to happen, because if you take a look at my board and how I put things in and the way I went around, my factory edge is always on the top. Okay. And that's going to help hide your cut edges, which are more likely to fray than anything else. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use my zip tie gun here and get these clipped off. So the zip tie gun, I got this on Amazon. It's very inexpensive. And what it does is it tightens and cuts all at once. So that's kind of nice because it makes the work go a little bit quicker. I might be a little bit off camera because this is, again, a big wreath here. Okay, so small board, this was row 1. And we did, how many did we do? 16 petals. All right. And it's just the Dean Michael Daisy petal. It's a very classic petal that gets used in lots of different wreaths. I do have a, on my YouTube, I have some petal tutorials, nothing that I've I haven't like invented any petals or anything like that. Just find like people will message me and want to know, they'll send me a picture of my own wreath and say like, what petal is this? And it's nice to be able to direct them to, you know, if they're already watching me, go ahead and check YouTube and find that there. Okay. All right. So we are going to, continue to work on this, but I do want to just give you those couple little tricks with the, folding and the mesh and all that stuff. So I have a couple things to show you. So just because if you're buying a kit, a couple things can happen. And I know if you're an experienced wreath maker, you're going to know these things. But if you're not, then here's like a couple little things that tend to happen with poly burlap. It's a great product. It makes really nice flowers, but it's also a little bit finicky. It's poly burlap, Linda. Okay, sometimes you get these pieces that have like a really kind of crooked weave. So like these ends don't look that straight at all, especially like right here. Okay, but that happens sometimes. It's just the way it's on the roll. Okay, so that can happen. Two things about this. It's very thin compared to the other pieces I've been working with. I can't do anything about consistency. Sometimes it's thinner or softer feeling than others. And then this factory edge is a little wonky. Usually it's just if you compare the two edges, there's like a weird gap here. And there's nothing I can do about that either. And then I ended up with a whole roll of cranberry that again is got a weird factory edge where there's like this weird gap and then these little, it's almost like they didn't do a good job however they make it. So that happens too. But let me go ahead and show you how you can kind of get away with hiding some of that stuff. So it's another way to fold your Dean Michael petals. So I just have a straight edge here. I'm going to go ahead and you can do this with a wood burner, but you can also just do it with a rotary cutter or even scissors, although I don't really recommend scissors, but you just cut it diagonally. And this will give you a nice perfect petal every time. So basically then you just take your two pieces and place them one on top of the other and clip it, okay? And then just line up those edges the very best that you can, okay? And so this takes away the problem with folding, because sometimes when we fold, if it's not just 10 by 10, you know, you might not get a perfect petal. So we don't actually really care if this is lined up at the bottom at all. It doesn't have to be because we're scrunching it there. We care about these sides being nice and even. So I could even use two clips if I wanted to keep the sides together here. Exactly. Okay. Like that. And then just scrunch it. So actually it really doesn't matter which way I hold it, but let's just say I do this. Okay. And then I'm going to just do the exact same thing where I tuck under and then just gather. Yeah, you could definitely wood burn the wonky edges. I spent several hours of my life today wood burning and I just didn't feel like it. I put those pieces aside and I'll eventually do something with them. But I'll probably fix them. So this stuff is too expensive to throw any away, honestly. It's like some of the colors and patterns are up to like $12.25 a roll at Craft Outlet, and then other places. Usually Craft Outlet is kind of a good gauge for where you're going to find it other places as far as the price. But see, this is like perfect petal. You don't even see that there's two layers here. So you can get rid of some of that craziness if it's not cut right, or to hide certain things by doing the cut it in half method. So that's one way to do it. I mean, I do that sometimes if I have things that are like this is starting to fray a little bit right here. So I might do it on that one. So yeah. The measurements, we're working in inches, so 10 by 10 inches. The material comes on a roll, which is 10 inches wide. and then I cut it into 10-inch pieces. Okay, back to our wreath. I just want to do that little, thank you for letting me diverge a little bit there. Okay, so here was the number 1, here's number 2. Okay, so what we're doing is we're doing a little bit, we're doing a swirl pattern. So we are gonna like offset this next row, which is row 2. So my first, and I'm only doing 1 of each. So my first petal of the plaid is going to go right here. If you can see, I put a little star there. I just did a little guide for myself before I started. Okay, so here is the number 2. The one to the left is where we're going to put that plaid. Okay, and I do have to, let me just move this out of my way for a second. It's just kind of too big for me to fold and use that at this, get the board on the table at the same time. My dog's acted a little bit nuts. Sorry. I'm going to get a couple rubber bands out here. A wood burner. So I have, if you go to my Amazon affiliate shop, which it's linked in the pinned post on my Facebook page, it melts the mesh. This is like a plasticky type of material, and so it seals the edges to prevent fray. Yep, just like what Unique in the Creek told us. Okay, so curl side up. Okay, factory edges, cut edges, turning it into a diamond shape. I'm gonna go ahead and fold this into a triangle, line up my corners. Now, when I showed you that where I cut it in half, I would decide early on, but when I start my wreath, if I was gonna do that on all my petals. You can, I mean, it changes the look a tiny, tiny bit. If you're really picky, then you might not want to do some folded and some cut in half. I would probably do them all the same. I'm very picky like that though. All right, so then take your end, curl it under, and then fold, gather your material. Yeah, so the wood burning tool you can find many places. I got mine on Amazon, but I've seen them at Michael's. I've seen them at Hobby Lobby. I think they even have them at Walmart. I just have the very basic one that has it plugs in and it has an on-off switch. So it doesn't even have settings. It did come with different tips, but I only ever used the one that came on it. Very unadventurous. Okay, there's our petal. Just gonna go ahead and make these last 2, and then I'll get my board back out here. Okay, so again, factory edges, cut edges. I'm turning it same way every time, because that way I'm always gonna have the factory edges and the cut edges in the same place on those petals, when I fold them the same way every time. Okay, and I'm turning it to its side. Now another thing, here it's not quite lining up. I might actually, sometimes I'll just flip it over and see oh, it looks a little better on this side. So I'll just fold it this way instead. Yep, with wooden plaques. Yeah, anything, wherever they have the wood crafting kind of stuff is usually where you can find it. Okay, but yeah, it's a great tool because it keeps it from shredding. I don't know, Mary. I thought I had the right label, and I don't. It's probably around somewhere. I'll have to look and see if I can find it. I'll have to look it up. I don't know. Okay, so there's our petal. So I do tend to pre-make a lot of petals, so that way when I'm doing these lives, I can just zip them all in. All right, so we are only going to do one. We're going to alternate. This is row 2. Okay, we're doing 8 petals. We're just alternating. We're not doing 2 groups of 2 anymore, just 1. Okay, and again, here's my number 2. I'm starting here. Oh, I smudged my little marking off. I guess the pen I used didn't work. I should have used a Sharpie. So this is going to go here. Okay. And then next we're going to do the moss green. So this is going to be a nice sized wreath. It's going to be a little larger than the ones I normally do. I use this small board a lot, and I tend to keep my wreaths around 22 to 24 inches kind of at the most. And honestly, it's really just because of shipping costs and the boxes that I have. I would have to move up to the next size box to ship this wreath. I'd have to look and see what I have, because I do tend to save stuff. from shipments I get. See if I would have a box big enough for this. But I generally ship all of my wreaths in 20 by 20 by whatever depth I need. That works fine for like a 22-inch wreath. It's not getting squashed. You think like, oh, it's 2 inches too small. It's not a problem. Generally the flowers, I can ship them in like a 4-inch deep depth box, deep depth, whatever you want to say. If they're a little poofier, like if I do deco mesh, they're in a deeper box. So, oh, thanks, April. All right, so that's the last one in row 2. So again, we just did alternating one of each color. Well, actually 2 of each color. They're just not next to each other. So just go around twice with your 4 colors. We're using the plaid twice, but if you're doing a kit, then you have 4 different colors. You could even, I like doing kits for people because number one, I don't mind the explanation part. I used to be a teacher, so it comes pretty naturally to try to break things down into steps, especially since I used to teach math. I mean, talk about having to break things into steps. But also because, I mean, you would have to buy, I mean, for this, you'd buy 3 rolls of mesh. For the 4 color one, you'd need to buy 4 rolls of mesh. If you're not somebody that's going to go and do another project with what's left over on the roll, you're spending a whole lot of money to get 4 rolls of poly burlap. And so I just give you exactly what you need to make your one wreath. Okay. All right. So here's where our numbers are. Okay. So this is technically the top here. So here's the number 3. We're on row 3. Okay. So here's where my swirl is happening. Okay. So here's the number 3. And you can kind of just eyeball it. So we're just going to start with the plaid again. We want it to be just offset from this one here on row 2. So it's going right here. Okay, so number 3, there's a set of holes here to the left. It's the next set of holes. Hopefully that's a good enough explanation. Here's the number 3, not this one, but here's where I'm going to start with my plaid. You could start here with your moss green if you wanted. It really makes no difference. But we're just going to go in the same order we've been doing. Okay, so this is going to go here. Just like this. And we're only doing, again, 1 of each. So now I do 1 moss green and 1 more plaid. I have not done in-person classes. It's something I think I would probably like to do at some point. But quite honestly, I feel like I would have to really get my butt in gear to get anything going around here where I currently live. So if you're new to me, new to my page, haven't watched before, my husband is active duty military. We do move quite a bit, so it's a little bit hard to actually get yourself like established any one place because you're always new. We move about every 3 years. So we did move here to the Charlotte area in July 2020, so sort of right in the thick of COVID, where I don't even think it would have been possible to do in-person classes. And so I never really looked into it. And then kind of like craft fairs started happening again, and things have slowly picked back up, but we're already like looking at less than a year till we move again. So trying to find a place I would go to hold the classes and, getting everything in order as far as like, do they want insurance or, any of that kind of stuff. It would be a little bit of a hassle, but maybe not anything. I don't know. I would just really need to look. Oh, you're in Charlotte too? Oh, awesome. Well, if I have a class, I'll let you know. You could be we could, I mean, I don't know. Again, you'd have to figure out where we would be going, how many people you could do. I actually had my mom and sister do a wreath making party at their house there in Buffalo, which is where I'm originally from. And so they bought a bunch of kits from me, had some girlfriends over, and well, I kind of gave my mom and sister a little bit of a prep, taught them how to do everything so that they could walk around and help people. But some people watched my tutorial ahead of time, so they were all ready to go when they sat down. Yes, Amy, this is the spiral wreath. Yes, we're just doing 3 colors instead of 4. The spiral ones that I've seen have had 4 colors, and that's how I'm selling my kits, but I just decided I really liked this plaid and I was going to use it twice. So that's where we're at. Okay. How are the petals made? I'm actually done making the petals, so you're going to have to go back and watch the replay, or you can check my YouTube. There is a whole petal playlist, and this is the Dean Michael Daisy petal. Okay. So here is my number 4. Okay. Now here's where again, I'm working on the plaid. I guess I could be looking at this one, or I could be looking at this one. It doesn't make any difference. Again, you want to make sure you're offsetting. So here, this is kind of how I started, was over here. I have my little mark right here. Okay, so it's number 4. And then I'm going over to so I have my set of holes at number 4, my pair. Then I have the shared one. And then I have the next pair. That's where I'm going. Okay, so number 4, not this one, where number 4 is. Not this shared, but the next one. Okay, you can tell when you put it in if you did it wrong, because your spiral won't be happening the right way. It'll look a little off. And I know, so I didn't watch a tutorial. I just figured this out on my own. So if I'm doing this the same or different than what other people did, I actually have absolutely no idea. I just sat and looked at a picture and figured it out. So yeah, I don't know for sure if I'm doing the same exact method as anybody else, but yeah. I feel like I was going to say something else there, but I don't remember now what. 30 minutes south of Buffalo. Cool. So is that like, are you in the southern tier? Are you like, I don't know, I'm trying, I moved away from Buffalo in 2009. Starting to lose my, if you say a name, I'll know it, but I can't, like, the names of the towns don't come as quick as they used to. All right. Oops, I messed up here. Let me go back, and I forgot. I messed up this. I messed up. I messed up. So let's go ahead and these two are in the wrong spot. See, the spiral doesn't look right anymore, so I'm gonna go back and fix it here. Okay. This one, I also cut the rubber band, so let me go ahead and just put a clip on this so I don't lose this one. Oh, chafy. Okay, yeah. I think that's how you say it, right? I miss this comment here. I thought we were doing a spiral with a teal, orange, and brown with a pumpkin sign in the middle. So I will tell you, if you're gonna do the spiral, okay, there seems to be like a tad bit of confusion because so Monkey's Creations, I watch her a lot. She did, she called it a spiral. It was a patriotic wreath that had the red, white, and blue. So that was 3 colors. And like then another person, her name is Stacy from Your Front Porch. I follow her. If she's got a live videos, I do watch them sometimes, but I know she posted, she did a spiral wreath with 4 colors in a private group, which I do not belong to. And again, if she did it this exact way, I don't know because I didn't watch that video. But she did it with 4 colors. And a lot of people thought, oh, it had to have been the same exact way. And I honestly don't know if it was or not because I didn't watch those videos. I figured out the way I'm doing it just by looking at a picture. So I don't know. Oh, okay, Amy. Cool. So are you the originator then of this design? Because it's very popular. And I really like it because you get a bunch of different colors in your wreath. And it's just a little different way of doing it instead of like all one color on the outside and all one color on the next row and all that kind of stuff. So I like it. Awesome. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Sorry, Pam. Pam's watching me. Yes, I did mess up the last 2, but we're all good to go now. Okay. Okay, and then we need one of these. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. Yeah, this will look, I know it's getting a little dark outside. I'm working under, not natural light anymore. This is really pretty in person. It's looking a little bit, I don't know. Blah is not a good term to describe your work, but the colors are not really popping. on camera right now, but the cranberry is definitely like a really nice, like, it's, I don't know, it's like pink, but like not, you know, I mean, it is like a true cranberry, I guess. And the moss green is looking kind of beige, but it's definitely got a greenish tinge to it. So I do have, I have a lot of colors of poly burlap. I tend to like buy a whole bunch just so I can see what the colors look like in person. And then it's like, well, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with this later. So I have the difference between the cranberry and the burgundy. I would say the cranberry is more on the pinkish side, whereas the burgundy has a little bit more like a purple sort of undertone to it. And then the moss green is just a little bit more on the beige side as opposed to the olive green, which is more of a true, like what it sounds like. So I do have kits, Rhonda. I don't have a kit for this one exactly because I only had one roll of this plaid, but I do have kits that come with 4 different colors, all fall colors. I have oranges and cream and brown and burgundy and yellow and all kinds of different color combinations that you can choose from. I think there might be one that's sold out already, but I don't know. I'm obviously not looking at my Etsy because I'm on here. Okay, so... all right, thank you. And if you are interested in kits or like really anything, I mean, I have kits and I have finished wreaths in my shop. I do have a sale going on right now for Christmas in July. So the kit is not, it's included, but you'd have to buy more than one item because it's 30% off if you spend $50 or more. The kit is not $50 by itself. So you'd want to buy something else. I do have ribbon wreath kits available too. That are, you know, if you're a wreath maker, that's an option, or you can always buy 2 kits, one for you and a friend. Okay, so here's where we're at. I'm really liking how this is coming out. Again, maybe colors not being done justice here. And then, you know, in order to make sure you get your true like spiral, like you might, when you hang this up, you might want to just slightly readjust where the points of your petals are laying. I noticed that when I took a picture the other day that I kind of wanted to like go back and readjust. Okay, so now let's talk about the center. So you have 2 options for what you do with the center. And you also, if you're doing a kit, you have 2 different color options as well. We are going to use this dark brown regular burlap. Okay, I get this at Walmart. I have one Walmart out of like the 5 that I live near has a really great craft section that has burlap in all different colors. Okay, so we're going to use that. So you either get a choice of the dark brown or just the natural brown. And then you have 2 options of what you do with the burlap. So you get 5 feet and it's enough to do either one of these centers. We're going to do the Ruffle Center, which is a little bit easier. And the reason I'm going to do that on this is because I have a full tutorial for the burlap rosette, which would be your other option. So you get enough burlap to do one of these. And I have a separate YouTube tutorial that shows you exactly how to do this. But this could be your flower center. For me, this color, I don't like this color on this wreath I want to bring out. You can probably not even see it, but there is a bit of a dark brown streak in this plaid. So I'm using the dark brown to bring that out. Okay, but you could do this. So you'd follow the other tutorial. We're going to do the ruffle. Yeah, the gray circle, that is the wreath board from Unique in the Creek. I do have an affiliate link if you go to the pinned post on my Facebook page, which you're on my Facebook page already, but go to the pinned post and you'll see a link directly to them. I do get a small commission if you do buy through that link, which I very much appreciate. All right, so here's what we're looking at. So what I'm going to do, the reason I'm showing you this is for this burlap ruffle that we're going to do. We are going to be reusing some of these holes in the center. Okay. So I'm going to just use the pair of holes in row 4 again. Okay. Now I'm not going to latch my zip ties. Okay. But I'm going to go down one, up the one next to it. So I'm just layering over. Okay. Don't latch it though, okay? Because I'll tell you why in a second here. Just leave it open, okay? Yeah, I don't personally sell the Unique in the Creek boards. I have an affiliate link which will take you there, but they have designated suppliers that they use. So you can actually, they just recently started selling them on Amazon too in a 10-pack, but depends how many wreaths you want to make. Okay, so you get 5 feet of the burlap. Okay, I have already cut mine in 15-inch sections. Okay, I just used my rotary cutter. All right, so it's gonna have a slight little curl to it because it's on a roll. I'm gonna go ahead and put the curl side down. I know that's the way it's going, okay? It's kind of hard to tell. All right, and then it's very simple for this ruffle center. All you're gonna do is start at the middle here. Can't see what I'm doing. Right here, and just start scrunching up the middle, okay? So this is what I would call, this is a pretty easy center to do. The rosette is not anything too challenging, but does take more time. You want to make sure you have hot glue and a pipe cleaner to attach it and all that good stuff. I do give you enough zip ties to do this method, so it's not like you're going to be short if you choose this method. Okay, so I've got this little like sort of bow tie butterfly looking thing. Okay, this right here is what's going into my zip tie. So I left it open because I need to be able to zip around that middle section there. It's just like this. Close this up. Okay. Get that as tight as I can. Okay. And sometimes I have to end up, oh, that worked pretty well. I was gonna say, sometimes I have to actually just use my, my green handled trusty flower cutters for when I get down in here, because it does get pretty full. Okay, doesn't look like anything yet, but you got to keep going. We're doing so you have enough to cut 4 pieces of this burlap at 15 inches each. Okay, if you're going to do the rosette, it actually doesn't really matter what length you cut those at. I generally do them in like 2 or 1 foot sections, and that makes more sense when you watch the tutorial. All right, so I'm just going into my next set here. Okay, so just to show you, here's where the first one went, right here. It's hard to tell, there's 2 zip ties right there, and here's where I just put another one. Okay, and I'm leaving it open, and I'm following the exact same thing that I did before. Hey, Jax. All right, and then so kind of curl side down. I just do that because it just lays a little bit nicer if your curl is like down, and then you just scrunch up the middle. Oh, gross. You just let out the most disgusting belch. Was that dinner you had a while ago good? Because yikes, dude. He's silly. Oh, now he's going to scratch himself against the couch again. Oh, Jax. He's a goofy guy. All I can see, I'm a little delayed on my computer, but I just see his tail sticking up. It looks pretty ridiculous. Now he's changing directions. All right, so now you will kind of like position this. If you're worried that like, oh, I can see the zip tie, you're not going to when you're done. You'll have to just kind of, you're going to just ruffle this out when you got all your pieces in here. It does get pretty tight. Okay, so I'm going to the next set. You're only doing 4, remember. You don't have to use I'm just using the regular set of holes and not the shared holes for like where I'm doubling. So I just put one right here, and there was one here, here, and then this will be where my last one goes. Okay. So yeah, the rosette just takes a little bit too much time to do on camera, so I did that one tutorial and posted it. It's definitely a very pretty center, and it's just nice that if I give you 5 feet of burlap, you can make the rosette, or you can do this, either way, whatever your choice is. So I'm trying to kind of move this out of the way a little bit when I put this in here, just to make sure I'm not like overlapping too much. It's already that I'm using 6-inch zip ties, which are plenty long enough. It's just that you're gathering quite a bit of burlap in there. So, all right, and then just using my little clippers, they're just a little easier to get in there to make those little cuts. And last piece. I watched a video a while ago on a different way to make this ruffle. Oh my gosh, it seemed so complicated. It was like a lot of like pulling threads out, which actually is what you do for the rosette, but there was like pulling a thread out and then attaching, like somehow ruffling the piece and attaching it to I think it was a piece of styrofoam or something. I don't know. It seemed like too many steps for me, so I just do this method. I think it works pretty well. So I get my burlap at Walmart. I have a couple of Walmarts near me, and one has a really good craft section. So that's an option. Hobby Lobby has some colors, not quite. Actually, the Walmart with the good craft section has more colors than Hobby Lobby, shockingly enough. But Hobby Lobby is a good place to check. They do have some different colors. And then I would honestly probably, I don't know if anyone has any other suggestions, but like there's some Etsy shops that sell it. There's some place, I can't remember the name of it. I think I follow them on Instagram. I might follow them on Instagram. I think I do. And they have burlap in all different colors. It's just that it's actually pretty pricey when you get into all the funky colors. All right, this is like, we're getting really tight in here. So I'm just pulling this and latching. Just need to concentrate for a second here. All right, there we go. All right. So unfortunately, I don't have the greatest answer for that because, especially to get it in all the different colors, you gotta kind of hunt. So Etsy might be a good place to look. The kits are in my Etsy shop. So my Etsy shop name is a tad bit different than my Facebook and all my other stuff. It's Carrie's Wreath Co. .etsy.com. And that's because Carrie's Wreath Creations is too many characters for Etsy. All right, so all you got to do then is just kind of like play around with this little. If you feel like you can see a zip tie, which you really can't. If you get any loose threads, like there's a loose one here, but I think it's actually zipped in, so I'll cut that off. But there you go, like that. You snip this off, and then the last step that you would want to do. Yeah, so I mean, if you want to compare, this ruffle makes a bigger center than the rosette. It still covers everything it needs to cover. If you use the smaller one, this is just a little bit more work. Lots of threads and mess. This is a little bit simpler to do, okay? But either one looks nice. Okay, so then finally to finish this off, I'm going to go back here. So here's the top of my board. Can you see? Here's where the hanging holes are, okay? So let's see. I don't know. All right. So if you literally go to you're on my Facebook page, just go to the main page and click shop on website and it takes you right to Etsy. Okay. I'll go back in the comments after and list it. I just can't type at this second, but all right, so here's where my hanging holes are. I just use fish line. You could certainly do, you can't even see it, but here's fish line. You could do something fancier if you want. Sometimes I'll use jute twine, but I typically just use the fish line to make my hanger. Go through my hanging holes here. And just knot it at the end. I've never once had this fish line break. I think it holds 30 pounds. So yeah, it's pretty, just give it a good knot there and it hangs and that won't break. At least it never has for me. So here's our finished wreath. Okay, so if you like what you see here, please be sure to head over to my YouTube and check out all the videos I have on there. I have other tutorials and different ways to fold petals and things like that. If you're interested in kits, again, this exact kit is not available because I don't have a massive supply of the plaid, but I do have other color combinations available. I have completed wreaths. I have all kinds of stuff. I just on YouTube posted a bow making video because someone was interested. A couple people told me they were interested in that, so that was just posted earlier tonight. Also, feel free to follow me over on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, at Carrie's Wreath Creations on all of those. And again, the Etsy shop is carrieswreathco.etsy.com. I'll go back and put that in I already lost that comment, but I'll go back to the comment and put that in there. But otherwise, don't forget about the sale, 30% off if you spend $50 or more. And that ends at the end of the day tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Have a good Sunday. Bye.